Ready when you guys are.
Just an overall assessment how you day went today.
I was all right. It was day 2 of OTAs. We put in a few more things, as you do each day, so a few more busts than I would have liked, but it's part of the process. Each day you put in a little bit more, it all starts to blend together, so it'll be harder 2 days from now, but I was excited with how hard the guys went.
Is the defense ahead of the offense right now?
I don't think so. I think it's 2 teams learning a bunch. Yeah, I would say without watching the film that they had a better day today. I felt it was pretty close yesterday, but I want to say either one's ahead.
Guys rotating through the offensive line, you know, the first team, 2 right tackles, 2 right guards, a couple centers. I mean, is that the goal this offseason, to have 2 guys sort of vying for each of the starting spots?
I mean, yeah, you would like that at every position. You know, competition brings out the best in everyone, but, you know, all we have to go off of is watching tape from what they've had in the past. So, you know, we want to balance everyone out, give everyone opportunities at each position, and we need to see for ourselves, you know, doing what we're asking them to do, the techniques and the schemes, and find out what the best place is for guys. So there's a number of guys we're moving around.
You come out a week like this, what are your number 1 and 2 markers in terms of success?
Not getting anyone hurt would be the first success, and then just teaching everyone. You know, just from a coaching staff. You look forward to this because, you know, you're able to go on the field with them in the first mini camp, which is a voluntary one, but only new coaches are allowed that. So you go on the field with guys and you haven't worked enough to really judge them too much. So we put in a bunch of work here through phase 1 and phase 2. You know, we've had 3 weeks on the field now, before yesterday, before we could go against each other. So we were kind of getting sick of doing that. So we were excited for yesterday just to go against each other and compete. And it's really the first time we really can evaluate from a fair perspective.
What do you have Reuben Foster doing, and how are the mental reps coming on board?
I think they've been great. You know, Reuben, you know, everything out there he's got to watch. You know, we've allowed him to participate in anything that there's no possibility of contact. You know, so if he's doing any of the individual drills and not going against people, then he's able to do everything because he can run and do it all. We got to be able to avoid collisions right now. So he's trying to stay locked in. I know it's hard for him. He wants to run around out there, and but he can't do it. We got to be smart with it, and we can't set him back.
Pretty much perfect attendance, say, for the guys that still have college commitments. Just obviously you want that anyway, but with these being voluntary, how helpful is it when you're trying to start building something to have everyone?
I think it's huge. You know, it's something you can't necessarily control, but you definitely got to try to get the right people who it is important to, because I think it's very hard to build a team when your team's not there. You know, it's one sport that you can practice individually and maybe make yourself bigger, faster, or stronger. But on both sides of the ball, it's 11 guys playing together, and the only way to get better playing together is to be together. So that is something that's very important.
You guys issued that release after that report came out that NaVorro was on the trade block. Is that a conversation that you needed to have with him and address that?
I didn't, because he felt good with it. I mean, I know John talked to him, and thought he was going to come and talk to me, but after he talked to John about it, there was nothing to worry about. He understood it all and realized it wasn't the truth, so there was no need to really talk personally about it.
Were there trade discussions initiated by other teams regarding NaVorro?
No. The only trade discussions we had was when another team asked us about Vance on draft day. And after a team asked us about Vance, then we asked other teams if they'd be interested in that same thing. So when it came to NaVorro or any other player on our team, no one's asked, and we haven't either.
How did NaVorro look out there physically to you?
I thought he's looked real good. You know, kind of what I've told you guys the last time I spoke with you. Anytime coming off an Achilles, you're waiting for him to ease into it. And from what I've seen just watching him, I would have never known that just by watching him. He looks like the guy I've seen on tape over the years.
Is Barkley locked in as the number 2, or is there a chance CJ could beat him out throughout preseason?
Well, there's a chance for everybody. I mean, nobody's locked in at anything. You know, he took all the 2 reps today and yesterday, and we didn't balance him out. I'd be surprised if that stayed that way all the way through up to the season. But yeah, no one's locked in for anything. If we're going to always play the best guy.
This may seem like a sort of naive question, but I'll ask you anyway. How do you decide what plays to run in those drills? I mean,
it's about trying to teach a foundation of a system that you know it'll carry you throughout the whole year. So you're trying to build the foundation of your blocking schemes, your pass patterns, how you tie them together, the stuff off of them. It's a day-by-day process. You know, we break down our offensive scheme into 7 days. So each day we put in a group of runs, a group of passes, all types of passes, and you just build it for 7 days. And after 7 days, then you kind of have the foundation of your offense. It doesn't mean you're going to run those exact plays, but it's going to be something like it, and it depends what you see on tape each week. It's kind of tough because you're not really trying to scheme against your own defense. You're trying to teach plays. So, we're going out against a lot of cover 3 out there. Sometimes you're running quarters plays, but you got to teach your guys sometimes. You don't want to teach them in week 12 on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when you're going half speed, getting ready for a game. So it's how do you build your guys to how you think you're going to use them throughout the year by teaching them that technique, which to me, the only way you get good at technique is doing stuff over and over again. And yet still competitively, you want to try to scheme up the defense a little bit and have some success.
How do you kind of assess the situation you guys have at Will where, you went out and you targeted Malcolm Smith and gave him some pretty good money, and then the number 3 guy on your draft board is somebody you ended up with too. How do you envision that situation playing out?
I really try not to envision it too hard because I see a lot of good players there. And you go into the year, into the off season, and Bo's coming off an injury. You lost some free agents. We got to add players to that, and you got to do it in the process of what's allowed. Starting with free agency, going into the draft, you don't know what's going to happen. Also, you don't know how well Bo's coming back or when it'll take. Seeing Bo out here and how healthy he's been, knowing we added some good free agents, and the way the draft worked out, having a linebacker we had ranked very highly fall to us at the end of the first round, we got a lot better pretty fast. And when you ask me about how is it going to play out, I'm not sure, and it's a good problem to have. It's something that you actually would like to have at every position, that there's going to be in my opinion, there's going to be a very good player who's not out there all the time. And that's not a bad thing. That makes the 2 guys who are out there go a lot harder and play better. It makes your special teams better, and it allows you to survive injuries, which almost always happen.
It looks like Jimmy Ward's adapting okay to free safety. Is that something that you might not really get a true gauge on until you're in games?
Yeah, I think safeties, running backs, you never totally know until they're hitting, and running backs are having to go through arm tackles, safeties are having to finish it and take them to the ground. So you never truly know until the full pads come on and you're actually in a preseason game, because we'll never fully tackle here. We'll find out that in games. But Jimmy, from what I've seen of his college tape and how he's played nickel, how he's played corner, he's not a guy I'm too worried about tackling. So I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of the running backs, what exactly are you assessing from them in a setting like this?
Well, we go pretty hard, and there's guys who play their gaps, and you want to see there's an art to hitting the right gap and running full speed and going to where the guy in the defense is out of position. And I always joke with the backs, I can see it every time when I have a remote in my hand and it's very slow, and I can be, oh, you should have gone there. No one plays running back with a remote in their hand. They just run, and it comes natural. So you try to see who naturally runs to the right spots, and there's guys who aren't the most flashy running backs to just the naked eye, but for some reason they have a better yards per carry than everyone else does, and that's because they get to the right hole, and it's always 4 yards, 6 yards, and whatever the offense blocks it for, they usually get 2 more. So we try to see who the most natural runners are, who it's not too big for, and their conditioning and how hard they go.
Coach, what have you seen from another Bowman question? He's not used to being in a competition. He's always been you're obviously going to start in a while. Have you or John, just had to talk to him about, hey, you're in a competition now, or has he just accepted that, understood the situation,
Yeah, you never know how a player's going to react to that, especially when you have someone who's had a ton of success in his career. I remember after we drafted Ruben, out of respect to Bo, I gave him a call that night and asked him to come in and talk to me, and Bo was like, Coach, I'm good. I'm out golfing, and it's no problem. I'll see you at work. And he ended up coming in, and Bo got it. He wasn't too worried about it, and so he made it very easy. Sometimes guys do, and you want to explain to them really exactly what I just explained to you guys. But you never know until you do it, and the way Bo's handled it, I think it'll bring out the best in him. He's going for it as hard as anyone I've seen, and he started doing that before we got here, or actually before we were allowed to work with him, just him coming in on his own and working with Ferg and Ray. And then right when phase 1 started, he was ahead of schedule, and I think that's why he's getting the results right now that a lot of people normally don't get 6 months or whatever it is after Achilles.
Where's Joshua Rubin right now? Do you have him at Will or the?
He hasn't been out there yet. I think he's been focusing more on Will. But it's at that position, you got to know both of them.
Joshua Garnett showing you, and are you trying to figure out where he fits best?
I mean, we know he's going to play guard for us. You know, we're trying to see what he's better at, left guard or right guard. Based out our 5 who are going to end up being out there, whoever that other person is, where's the best way to put those inside 3 people. So you need some versatility. I know he played at right guard last year. I know he played at left guard throughout college. We worked him at both yesterday, a little bit more right guard than left. Today, I want to say we worked him at both. I think it was definitely more left guard today than right guard, but it's something we want him to work out at both, and hopefully we'll put him in the spot that's best for him, and hopefully it'll be the best for the team.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Trent Taylor? Seeing him on the field today for the first time, looked like he did a really nice job of finding the soft spots and zone coverage. What stands out about his game so far in camp?
You know, Trent's a guy who is very good at separating. You know, he's very quick. He's a very tough player. His feet are usually under him, so he always can make a couple moves in a short area, which is a quality that a lot of people look for in a slot receiver. And he also has the toughness and awareness to, as you said, sit down in zones and know when he doesn't have to do all these moves because no one's looking at him, they're looking at the quarterback. And then when he catches the ball, he's not scared. He gets up the field, he fights for yards, and he's got those qualities you look for in the type of player who keeps you on the field, which is usually third down.
You had the 2 mini camps, but this has been your first chance to kind of have everybody together. For you, as a first-time head coach, are there still adjustments that you have to make in terms of running practice and reminding yourself to look at the defense or anything like that?
Yes, it's been awkward for me sometimes where to go. I'm used to knowing exactly where to go and what to do, and I always do that from the offense coordinator standpoint, which I still do a lot of those responsibilities. So at times I feel most comfortable when I go to do that because that's something to do. But when I pass it over to some other guys and let them do it, I find myself walking around a lot, and I'm not used to that. It feels awkward. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think I should walk around and watch everyone and see it. And I always see it on the tape, but that's later at night. You want players to know you're there and paying attention to everything. And I usually try to cover that in meetings the next day also.
Is it something that as you go along, you'll find a rhythm and I'll be here in this period, that type of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the main thing is I'll never just do one of all. And I hope the rest of my career I'm doing a little bit of everything. And wherever you think you're needed the most, you work in that area and you focus on that and have confidence in everyone else to take care of the rest of the stuff. But you can't be everywhere, so you like to feel you can be where you're needed the most.
Small sample size, but anybody jump up and surprise you? Did anything this week?
I think it's too early, so I wouldn't want to say. You know, everyone was so eager, which they usually are the first day. Today they came out just as eager. A few more mistakes today, but I'm excited to have a day off tomorrow as far as not going on the field. It's still a phase 2 type day, but we're not going to work them physically. We're going to have them do a bunch of stretching and stuff with Ray. Then we're going to get a couple hours with them just to watch tape. So we'll get to put 2 days together of tape. We'll be able to sit there and really coach it a lot, which, you know, yesterday and today we're just, with the hours we have, we're more installing it, trying to get out there to run it. Tomorrow we'll really focus in on what we've done the last 2 days, and we won't leave the film room. We'll just sit there and watch it, and usually that leads to a better Thursday.
What have you seen from Aaron Lynch? I mean, this guy came into the league with a lot of potential, a lot of promise. Do you see him doing the steps necessary to become a better player?
Yeah, there's no doubt Aaron's going in the right direction for us. You know, he came in the offseason, we challenged him hard, which is the way we worked and stuff, and he hasn't shied away from any of it. You know, he's jumped in on all of our stuff. I believe he only missed 1 day of the off-season workouts, and he had an issue with his wife, which he had to take care of. So he's gotten better each day. He's gotten more shape each day, and I'm seeing it on the field each day. And it's not just him. I've seen it with a lot of our guys. You know, Ray has pushed these guys extremely hard in the conditioning part, and the guys haven't faded away at all. They've stepped up to the challenge. You never know when some guys are working a certain way they're not used to, and it's voluntary. You never know exactly who's going to show up the next week, and our guys have continued to do it, and he's definitely been one of them.
Switching schemes defensively, I mean, there's some carryover for the outside linebackers to Sam and Leo from the outside 3-4 guys. Mm-hmm. How guys like Ahmad and Aaron, how steep is that learning for them, learning the new system and the responsibilities?
I think it is for everybody. I mean, especially if you haven't done something a lot your whole career. I think there's a lot of similarities to it and where the two are going to play and stuff and where you guys will see them. But I think techniques are totally different. You know, how you want to take on blocks, how you want to play the run. Ahmad, I think, has been around a little longer than Aaron, so he's probably had a little bit more crossover with some similar schemes. I know we call it a 4-3, but it looks like a 3-4 to me, which a lot of 3-4 teams look like 4-down teams. It all depends how you look at it and what your personnel is. And 3-4 is really only versus base offense anyways, which, and on average in an NFL game, that's 20% of the plays. So almost the whole league to me runs a 4-down look, and that's what do you do when there's base personnel on the field. And we play a 3-4 structure. It's just how do you play those guys, 2-gap or 1-gap? And so most of our stuff's 1-gap because we got an 8-man front playing cover 3, and those guys got to be more into their gaps and things like that, which is different.
With Ahmad, just given the point he's at in his career, what stands out to you just about his approach and the fact he's transitioning and he still finds himself getting first-team reps now?
Yeah, he's getting them because he deserves them, and he, watch how he played last year. And then going into this offseason, you never know when a guy who's been around a bunch, if they're going to feel that they need the offseason like other people do. And Ahmad's been here every day, and he's needed just like everyone has. Anytime you learn a new scheme. But anytime you have a veteran like that, you worry, hey, maybe they won't think that they do need it. But Ahmad has, and he's been here. He's worked at everything. He's in good shape. He's done what we've asked in the weight room with Ray, and he's done everything with the position coaches and coordinator on defense. So I think he's learning it, and he should because he's putting the work in.
Who do you tend to?
Attitude shift from the first day you met this team to today?
Yeah, I think you get to learn personalities more. Everyone the first day is, and myself included, we're all we don't know each other, and you're just trying to tell them what the standard is and how things are going to be, and they're all sitting there wanting to know the standard, and they're wanting to do things the right way. And then each day you kind of get to know what that standard is, how it's going to be, and once you get that down, then you start to learn how each other are, just as a person. And I think that's a process we're still going through, but I think it's gone great. I think we're getting closer each day. It does take time, but I'm really happy with the tightness of our team and the little amount of time we've been together.
You mentioned that Bowman, you can't tell that he ever had the injury. How do you sort of balance him not doing too much at this stage too, and when he's competing for a job?
Definitely.
Go out there after all these months.
Yeah, and we definitely have to balance that, and especially with a competitive guy who's trying to win a job. He's probably not going to tell us. So that's something that we definitely evaluate. We always chart their reps. We have all the technology that I don't totally understand that gives me answers that other people understand, that tells us when they've had too much. But you got to know that stuff as a coach. Guys like Bo, guys like Staley, even guys like Zuda, like people who have been around and they're at that 30 mark. Especially when they work the way those guys do, we got to protect them from themselves at times. And we'll look at that as OTAs go. That usually comes a bigger play in training camp, but it's something we're thinking about every day.
Who do you tend to pass the offensive coordinator's duties to when you're walking around watching the defense?
I mixed it up. The different guys had different attributes. The guys who've been, Mike McDaniel basically our run game specialist, and Mike LaFleur, who's our receiver coach and our pass game specialist. Those guys have been with me the longest and know the offense the best. The other guys I've been with, but it's been a little bit not as long as those guys. So we balance it up. John Embry's the assistant head coach, and I get him to talk to the guys a lot. Bobby Turner's been an assistant head coach for teams we've had in the past, and any time that I need him to take over, he does. So it depends what period it is, depends what we're talking about.
All right. When you were in the locker room, there's some photos from the past on that wall. Was that your idea, or how did that come to be?
No, that's something that we want. It's pretty cool to work for the 49ers and have that history. So one thing I've learned over the years is don't assume that everyone knows that. I've asked like 4 running backs in a row the last 4 years who Marcus Allen is, and I'm like 1 for 4 on them. So it blows my mind. So you can't assume everything. Like not all. I used to think I was young, and then you find out that a 22-year-old doesn't know someone like that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I must be very old. So you want that stuff up. You want people to know about it because it is a neat thing, and to know what's been done here before. And I think it makes you that much hungrier to try to do it again.
All right.
Jay Burnetti's in charge of the whole locker room, so I go through him with everything, and but I know he didn't paint it, and so he has his people, I have my people, but we got it done.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.